Good evening and welcome to Nationwide Today on the network service of the NTA. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Thank you so much for joining us. President Muhammadu Buhari has described as pleasing and reassuring the work being done by the caretaker and extraordinary National Convention Planning Committee of the APC in repositioning the governing party. This was at a virtual interactive session with members of the All Progressives Governors Forum. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Following the suspension of the national chairman and subsequent dissolution of the National Working Committee of the APC, the National Executive Committee of the party chose the Yobe State Governor Mai Mala Buni and others as the chairman and members of the caretaker and extraordinary National Convention Planning Committee respectively. At a virtual interactive meeting with the governors of the APC controlled states attended by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, President Muhammadu Buhari expressed satisfaction with the work that the caretaker committee led by Governor Mai Mala Buni of Yobe State has been doing. He described the Yobe State governor as highly mobile in the renewed drive towards coordinating and strengthening the governing party. President Buhari also appreciated the efforts of the APC governors following the successful conduct of the party's governorship primaries in Edo and Ondo states. The governors, he said, knew their responsibilities and therefore identified the right priorities. Speaking on behalf of his colleagues, the governor of Kebbi State and chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, thanked President Buhari for taking the right steps towards resolving the crisis in the party. The president was also applauded for his genuine efforts at tackling security issues and those of the economy, noting in particular the successes recorded in pulling the country out of the 2016 economic recession, as well as the ongoing management of the coronavirus pandemic. The APC governors say they are indeed proud of President Buhari's leadership, achievements, and guidance towards taking Nigeria to the next level of socio-economic growth and development. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Away from the governor's virtual session, it is most disappointing that sensationalism has dominated the thinking and ethics of institutions that citizens look up to. With trust, confidence and reliability, Monday's edition of The Punch checks all the boxes in terms of an abject failure to honor these time-tested traditions with its news piece. Nigeria exports $81.48 billion electricity to credit as country's blackout persists, is to say the least hyperbolic and terribly misleading. Olabode Arewa has details of the article.
Apart from the fact that the figure quoted is far from accurate, outdated and therefore not reflective of the current reality, the overall cost of power generated and sold by Nigeria in the period covered by the report is not anywhere close to what was mentioned by the paper. The actual cost of electricity generated within the set time frame of 2018-2019 by all the electricity generation companies in Nigeria was about 1.2 trillion naira, which is about $4 billion. Over 90% of the electricity generated was distributed and consumed by consumers across the 11 electricity distribution companies in the country. Power exported to Niger, Benin, and Togo based on multilateral energy sales agreements with the government of Nigeria is not on the basis that they would not dam the waters that feed their major power plants in Kanji, Shiro, and Jeba. As of the last review in 2019, the amount of indebtedness to all three customers stood at $69 million, subsequent upon which several payments were made to embeds. Much of this has been repaid by the debtor nations. As of today, Niger only owes $16 million and Benin $4 million, adding up to the naira equivalent of about 1.2 billion naira. The essence of said bilateral agreements by which we give them power and they do not build dams on the River Niger means that Nigeria and our brotherly neighbors had avoided the unfolding situation of the Nile River between the sovereign states of Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt. In the future, we advise the newspaper to seek clarity from the market operator, which is the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. This process of fact-checking only improves your standing in the public arena.
And in other news, the federal government and National Association of Resident Doctors have resolved all issues threatening immense strike. The issues resolved are the end of the meeting between the Labour Ministry and representatives of the Union, Ministry of Finance and Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. Austin Ayebe reports.
Issues put forward as reasons for resuming suspended strike next month by the National Association of Resident Doctors include unpaid allowances, salary shortfall, demand for removal of the Chief Medical Director of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital, among others. After a marathon meeting of key stakeholders, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, assured health workers in the country of President Buhari's commitment to ensuring their safety and welfare at all times.
Very fruitful meeting, and we're sure that when we convene on the 6th of August, all the issues bothering NRD will have been addressed.
On each and every issue, the process of getting them addressed has been set rolling. We are hoping that all these processes will be followed through to a logical conclusion.
He said the federal government has so far spent 15.8 billion naira for hazard allowances in the federal teaching hospitals, federal medical centers, and some other non-COVID-19 hospitals where doctors have also been treating coronavirus cases.
We discussed the issue of consequential adjustments on the minimum wage. We identified the problems that arose, the minimal percentage of people that are affected, especially those who are on the GIFMIS. And again, in this GIFMIS, you have the non-regular staff, interns again, and NYSC. So we have asked the Federal Ministry of Health to also get in touch with the affected people.
The Labour Minister said April and May special allowances have been cleared even at the time government earning has fallen, and acknowledged that the June allowances were still outstanding because there were developments not originally captured in the budget. In Abuja, Austin Ayebe, NTA News.
And the federal government has declared Thursday 30th and Friday 31st of July 2020 as public holidays to mark this year's Eid al-Kabir celebration. The Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Rao Faregbeshola, while making the declaration on behalf of the federal government, congratulated Muslims and all Nigerians, both at home and abroad, on the occasion and urged them to observe all the COVID-19 safety measures during and after the celebration. He called on Muslims to continue to imbibe the spirit of love, peace, kindness, and sacrifice, as exemplified by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And out to passage of bills in aligning with the priority of the federal government to boost the agricultural sector for economic diversification, the House of Representatives held a public hearing on 3 agri-based bills. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that stakeholders submitted inputs to the House Committee on Agriculture Production and Services on the bill.
The 3 bills being considered at this hearing are a bill to establish Nigeria Institute of Plant Variety Protection Council, a bill to amend the Sea Fisheries Act, and a bill for the repeal and reenactment of Commodity and Grains Board. This process of legislation enables interested parties to make observations on the contents and bring forth suggestions. House Leader Alhassan Adodogwa says the bills will pave way for increased investments and stimulate production in the agri sector.
As we proceed to identify critical gaps needed to be filled in the agricultural sector and offering tangible solutions towards filling them, let us please remember that the teams and association of farmers are counting on us for their improved livelihood and income.
Chairman of the committee, Representative Muntari Dandusi, says food security across the country is the intent of the legislations.
To ensure that all our unemployed youth and all our people that are stakeholders
in this sector, both the production sector and the services sector. This agriculture can sustain and substitute the oil we depend in this country.
We are a country that is in dire need of expanding its economy. And in expanding the economy of this country, I think and I believe that when we speak to agriculture, it should not just be farming alone.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture, associations and other agencies of government made presentations at the hearing.
Our observations, which we would submit, is that the proposed fines are too meager.
The committee assured that all inputs will be considered on merit. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, members of the House of Representatives Committee on Reformatory Institution have inspected facility at the 104-year-old Jalingo Medium Security Correctional Center. This followed a motion moved by the member representing Jalingo Euro-Zinc Federal Constituency, Kasamo Bello Megari, seeking the relocation of the facility to a more appropriate location. Joseph Zanagambo reports.
Established in 1961 with an initial capacity of 250 inmates, the Jalingo Medium Security Correctional Center now accommodates about 600 inmates, out of whom only 85 have been convicted. The facility, apart from being overwhelmed, also poses serious health challenge to nearby residents due to the stench from waste materials that emanate from it. That was why the visit by members of the House Committee on Reformatory Institutions to the Jalingo Medium Security Correctional Center could be said to be timely.
The House mandated us to come and look at the problem. We have seen the problem. We have heard from the people. Inshallah, we are going to take action on what we have seen and what we have heard.
Members of the committee later inspected the 25 hectares of land earmarked for the construction of a new correctional facility located at the outskirts of the state capital.
I insisted, I made promise that if I reach House of Reps, the first thing I will do for people of Jalingo is to make sure we relocate this prison yard out of that place.
Today I think we have started seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I hope and pray that this will come to reality.
The committee is expected to report back to the House for further legislative action. In Jalingo, Joseph Zanagambo, NTA News.
Let's shift attention to the creative industry. 60% debt forgiveness for radio and terrestrial stations and 30% reduction of licensing fees. Setting up a task team on advertising, construction of a creative industry village in Lagos, rejigging broadcast code and monopoly and exclusivity are some of the measures taken by the federal government to reposition the creative industry to further accelerate the diversification agenda of the present administration. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, stated this on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria while discussing ways to reposition the creative industry. Ekemini Williams tells us more.
200,000 Nigerians employed by the creative industry have been rendered redundant since the coronavirus pandemic. The impacts to their businesses has been unprecedented, with multiple global and national events having been postponed or simply cancelled. For an industry that generates over 1.5 trillion naira annually from social events and people-centered activities, the COVID-19 poses a serious economic challenge. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the industry is leaving no stone unturned to ensure that it springs back to its full capacity post-COVID-19.
When we saw that, that broadcast stations were having problems, we intervened to foster financial sustainability in the industry. That is why we came out, I think on June 2nd of July, with a debt forgiveness for all terrestrial radio and TV stations, giving them a debt forgiveness of 60% of all their debts on condition that they are able to pay the 40% balance within 3 months. But to assist everybody, we went further to also reduce by 30% the licensing and renewal fees.
The minister spoke about the benefits that will be brought to the creative industry and the entire nation, arising from the handing over of the National Art Theatre, Igamu, Lagos, to the CBN and Bankers Committee.
A lot is going for drainage. A lot is going for transforming the transportation ecosystem around the area. Unfortunately for us, you know that there's already a train substation at the National Theatre.
So you can access by train?
You can access by train.
What about boats?
Well, we are creating an artificial lake there already, so that even for outdoor, community services, what you are going to achieve in that village is a situation whereby you can take your design there, and then with technology, you can reproduce that design. And make it industrial. Now we are going to have a music hub where instead of going outside the country for post-production, you can get your post-production there. The same thing with the film. And don't forget that I said there's an IT hub.
25 billion naira is being invested in the upgrading of the National Art Theatre. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on NTA. Time now to join Hingino John Adams in our Lagos studio for more reports. Hello, Hingino.
Hello, Elizabeth. Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has appealed for patience among the motoring public in Lagos due to the frustrating gridlock experiences in the city in recent times. The minister states that the urgent repair of Eko Bridge before the completion of rehabilitation work on the third mainland bridge is among plans to address the situation. Dr. Oguemi reports.
There are quite a number of highways and bridges in Lagos undergoing repairs simultaneously. This situation, coupled with the partial closure of the third mainland bridge, has left motorists to deal with the resultant effect of traffic. The Minister of Works and Housing is concerned about this development and directed the widening of switch points at Adeniji and Adekunle along the third mainland bridge to expand the curbs and create more space for better turning angles. He also disclosed that components for the repairs of the Eko Bridge has been ordered and are due to arrive before the end of August.
Traffic management is being undertaken on a collaborative effort again by LASMA and by FRSC, and as you have seen now, we've already done a review. We need to reduce the traffic manpower capacity at the interchange point on the bridge. This is not where the pain is. The pain is diverting to the alternative routes and also accessing the bridge from the alternative route. So we've asked both teams now to go back after this meeting and go and reassess their manpower and redeploy it to guide motorists to the bridge and off the bridge to free up any obstructions for people getting off the bridge so that traffic can move.
The minister also inspected ongoing reconstruction of the Apapa-Oworonshoki Expressway, where he was briefed on the extent of the project. He thereafter assured that the project will be delivered by November this year. In Lagos, Dotun Ukmiyemi, NTA News.
And away from infrastructure, very fast, the clock is ticking to usher in the 2020 Eid al-Kabir Festival. Annie Daniels takes a look at the significance of this all-important feast and how Lagosians are preparing to celebrate it amid COVID-19.
Also known as Greater Eid, the sacrifice, is the most important feast of the Muslim calendar. For this year, 2020, the day falls on 31st of July. During Eid al-Kabir, Muslims reenact Prophet Ibrahim's obedience by sacrificing a cow or ram. Worshippers turn out in beautiful attires, visit praying grounds with lots of merriment. All these may not be the case this year, as expressed by these traders and mostly Muslims.
We just sit down since morning. We don't see anybody. They will tell us to open by 9 o'clock and close by 3 o'clock. So
before some customer will even come from their house, there is a lot of traffic on the road. Some people will not even meet us at market.
I am standing right inside the popular Balogun market in Lagos. Previous years, items like hijab, jalabia, tesbil, cap and other wares were in high demand here towards Eid. These items are still available, but the traders have complaints.
6,000 just a turban. We are doing it in Nigeria, it's not imported. So I see no reason why this thing cannot go for like 1,500 or 2,000.
I have not even buy my ram. It is optional. If Allah give you power to kill the ram this year, alhamdulillah. Next year, if you cannot kill, there is nothing bad in that.
As Muslim faithful look forward to another Eid festival, the keywords are moderation and piety. Eid Mubarak in advance, Nigeria. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
We now take a break. Nationwide continues after that in Abuja.
ICPC and NTA say you can help Nigeria to flatten the curve on COVID-19, just as you can help flatten the curve on corruption. Follow transparency, accountability, and integrity just as you follow health guidelines. Stay home with integrity and maintain your distance from corruption, just as you stay away from COVID-19 by maintaining social distance. Report every act of corruption to ICPC, just as you report COVID-19 to NCDC. Stay away from corruption, stay safe from COVID-19. Report any act of corruption to ICPC on toll-free number 0800-2255-4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rest heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
Get the latest news and updates from across Nigeria on NTA Nationwide. NTA Nationwide, weekdays by 4 p.m. Get it first, get it fresh.
Thanks for staying with us. Now to security. The Department of State Services says it has uncovered plans by some persons and groups desirous of taking advantage of latest developments in parts of the country to destabilize it. Public Relations Officer of the service, Peter Afunanya, in a statement indicates that some prominent personalities and groups have resorted to divisive acts through inciting statements aimed at pitting individuals, groups and ethnic nationalities against another. The service is without doubt aware of these plans in their sponsors. The DSS therefore warns that it will no longer tolerate the orchestrations by unscrupulous elements to cause a breakdown of law and order in the country. In this regard, the service is working with relevant authorities and sister security agencies to ensure that the sinister objective is not achieved. Still on security, in order to safeguard lives and property and to also restore law and order in southern Kaduna affected by recent violence and other security challenges, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has directed the Commissioner of Police, Kaduna State Command, to ensure full enforcement of the curfew imposed by the Kaduna State Government. The CP is equally to ensure optimal deployment of both human and material assets of the intervention squad currently on ground in the affected areas. In a statement, the IGP commiserates with the people of Kaduna State, particularly those who have lost their loved ones and property as a result of the crisis. He assured that the force will do everything within its powers and means to ensure that peace is restored to the affected areas. Meanwhile, the IGP enjoins the people of Kaduna State to cooperate with the police, the military and other law enforcement agencies as they carry out the full enforcement of the curfew, amongst other measures directed at ensuring their safety. He, however, wants troublemakers in the state to desist forthwith or face the full wrath of the law. And to the fight against corruption, the federal government has restated its position that there will be no sacred cows in its anti-corruption war. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this at a media briefing on the administration's fight against corruption in Abuja. Anthony Forson has details.
The federal government's anti-corruption fight in the past weeks has come under attack, in the words of the Information and Culture Minister, Lai Mohammed, who described it as a campaign of calumny by the opposition, who are bent on painting the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration in bad light. Lai Mohammed said it is only apt for people of goodwill to commend the administration for investigating the nation's anti-corruption boss, a demonstration that the administration will not sweep any corrupt issue under the carpet, as was the case under past regimes.
There's no sacred cow in this fight, that unlike the PDP, we will not cover up for anyone, including the members of our party and government, who faces corruption allegations. Our fight against corruption is blind to party affiliation, position in government, and any other consideration.
Lai Mohammed was quick to note that there was no need to engage in trading of words over certain corruption allegations under investigation, was confident that the speed with which such allegations are being handled is a clear departure from the past and a demonstration of the sincerity with which they are being tackled. Citing the NDDC case, Lai Mohammed said it is an irony that those under whose watch a monumental corruption was perpetrated will turn around to accuse the present administration of aiding corruption.
This government has recorded over 1,400 convictions, including high-profile ones, and recovered funds in excess of 800 billion naira, not to talk of forfeiture of ill-gotten properties. This is no mean feat. Remember, gentlemen, that the fight against corruption is not about loot recovery or convictions alone. We are also putting in place enduring institutional reforms that will deter acts of corruption. Here we are talking about the Treasury Single Account, TSA, the whistleblower policy, the expansion of the coverage of the integrated payroll, personnel and information system, as well as the government integrated management information system, and the Open Government Partnership and Transparency Portal on financial transactions, among others.
To this end, the minister maintained that mechanisms have been put in place to ensure that corruption is stamped out completely. Such moves, he said, include the tracking of constituency projects by ICPC, administrative sanction in public service by publishing names of public servants who are being prosecuted, as well as a review of personal and capital fund expenditure of MDAs. The minister assured that those jubilating that the anti-corruption crusade is winning are only engaging in wishful thinking. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Now, Nigeria in the last 1 year has recovered about $60 billion from oil companies as arrears of payment in the production sharing agreement. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, disclosed this in Abuja at an interactive session with the media on activities of the Justice Ministry. Femi Okewu reports.
Increasing spate of crime and criminality in Nigeria, there has been a surge in the activities of the Federal Ministry of Justice, which is why the Attorney General of the Federation thought it fit to brief Nigerians on some of the achievements of the ministry in the last 1 year. Now, in addition to fighting and prosecuting crimes, the Ministry of Justice says it is now one of the foremost funds recovering agencies for the federal government of Nigeria. This it does through its anti-corruption drive and prosecution of fraud.
We have succeeded also in forcing Suez to post a bond of $14 million relating to a FRC case that is in contention.
On violent crimes in the country, the Minister of Justice said over 500 terrorism cases have been handled between May 29, 2019 and July this year. He added that contrary to claims in some quarters, the nation's fight against corruption is getting stronger.
Relating to OPL 245, Malabu, $1 billion is being pursued for recovery, and the $72 million component relating thereto has already been recovered from UK and repatriated back to Nigeria.
Solicitor General of the Federation, Dayo Akpata, said that the growing interest in the nation's justice sector activities made it necessary to hold the media interaction. In Abuja, Femi Okewu, NTA News.
And report just reaching us says a high-powered security meeting has been convened by the Kaduna State government with a view to ending the attacks and counterattacks in some parts of southern Kaduna.
This is the third time within a month that the security meeting is being held in this chamber toward ending the violence in southern Kaduna since the recent crisis in Zango and Kataf. 4 out of the 8 local government areas in the axis are currently under 24-hour curfew to stem the tides of conflicts.
For what we had were attacks on some communities and reprisal attacks. It has nothing to do with ethnic cleansing. And a lot is being done. If 1 or 2 attacks took place, perhaps 3 were prevented.
Governor Nasru Ahmed El-Rufai expressed concern over what he describes as false narratives, blackmail and intolerance fueling the long-age conflict and railing current effort by the authorities to proffer solution to the crisis.
So much unhelpful narrative is being spun, but the priority is to stop the bleeding and encourage communities to live in peace. We will continue to invest effort in the urgent necessity to create and sustain a constituency for peace by persuading elected officials, traditional rulers, and community leaders in the affected areas to live up to their responsibilities, respect diversity, and the rule of law.
In the meantime, more security personnel have been deployed to the flash points in addition to other security measures agreed upon in this meeting to deal with the lingering conflict. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umarajingi, NTA News.
For more reports on Nationwide, let's join Chinenye in our Enugu Center for more reports. Hello, Chinenye.
Hello, Elizabeth. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. The Enugu State government has handed over vehicles and motorbikes procured by the administration to the State Ministry of Transport to ensure effective enforcement of road traffic rules in the state. Handing over the work tools to the ministry, Deputy Governor Cecilia Ezilo said this is part of government's agenda to upgrade all the important transport subsectors. Susan Eze has details.
The handover ceremony coincided with the 3rd anniversary of the inauguration of the State Traffic Enforcement Bureau Cadet under the Ministry of Transport. A team of traffic marshals charged with the responsibility of ensuring free flow of traffic in all routes in Enugu metropolis. The vehicles, which include a pickup and a towing van and 5 motorbikes, are to motivate the Ministry of Transport traffic officials to do their job well.
The government is simply saying, thank you for the good work you have been doing. At the same time, you are being further equipped for more productivity and efficiency.
Grateful to the state government for the prompt response to their demand for more work tools, Commissioner for Transport, Matthias Ekweremadu, said the vehicles will greatly aid their operations.
We've just applied some few months ago for the purchase of a vehicle that will enable Minister of Transport to succeed and excel in its functions as the handled affairs about transport in these 3 states.
Similarly, government also donated a brand new bus each to the Enugu State chapter of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, and the Nsukka Zonal Amalgamated Traders Association. Both groups appreciated the gift. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
Parents and guardians have been urged to rise to the challenge of protecting their children and wards from contracting the COVID-19. This has become imperative following the rising number of children on the street hawking or involving themselves in risky business to survive. Amechi Pius has details.
They are described as minors and vulnerable in society because of their age. These children have been out of school for more than 3 months because their schools have been under lock and key as part of measures by both the states and federal governments to check the spread of the coronavirus. The whole idea is to keep the children safe from the virus. Some of these children have become useful at home, helping their parents to eke a living, even on the streets. The truth is that not many of them realize the danger of being exposed to the virus by not observing any of the personal hygiene protocols. For most of them, what is important is what goes into their stomach.
Parents should understand that the purpose of closing down schools is to protect these children. And if you allow your children to go out of the street in the name of hawking or whatever form of business, it means you've ended up exposing them to the same danger that government foresaw and decided not to open schools.
Those who are who have taken the measures are falling victim. How much more when the gates are open?
While acknowledging that times are difficult for most homes, he is of the opinion that health is wealth.
Instead of allowing them to be what they are doing, hawking on the streets and playing and then learning other dangerous habits, that government and non-governmental institutions should apply some methodology to these kids staying out of school.
Parents, they added, must live up to their responsibility and provide for their children. In Enugu, Amechi Pius, NTA News.
And that is it from Enugu. It's back to Elizabeth in Abuja for more on Nationwide. Good evening.
Glad to know you're still there. Now to COVID-19 update. 648 new cases of COVID-19 have been recorded in Nigeria. The figures released just before midnight on the 27th of July 2020 by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control indicate that this brings the total confirmed cases of the virus in the country to 41,180 cases. In the latest daily figures, Lagos has 180 cases, Plateau 148, while the FCT has 44. Other states on the list include Ondo with 42 cases, Kwara 38, Rivers 32, Oyo 29, Kaduna 21 and Osun 20. Edo and Ogun states have 17 cases each. Ekiti has 11, while Kano, Benue, Delta and Abia have 9 cases of the virus. Niger has 7, Gombe 3, while Borno, Bauchi and Imo have 1 case of COVID-19. 18,203 persons have been discharged so far, with 860 deaths recorded. Today is World Hepatitis Day, and statistics from the Federal Ministry of Health indicate that Nigeria is endemic for hepatitis B and C. Against this background, the Ministry of Health is inaugurating a policy document to ensure that states participate fully in the National Hepatitis Control Program. Olabode Arewa reports that the theme for this year's celebration is a hepatitis-free future.
That is the inauguration of a roadmap for the states to key into the viral hepatitis program. The 2018 National AIDS Indicator and Impact Survey of the Nigerian health sector shows that prevalence of the hepatitis infection is highest among the active age group of 15 to 64 years. Health experts say that since the infection could live undetected in the human body for many years, early detection through diagnosis as well as vaccination would prevent and stem its spread. The Minister of Health, Dr. Sage Yanire, says Nigeria is building on the successes recorded since the National Viral Hepatitis Control Program was established in 2013 by committing to a $3 billion Nigeria strategy on immunization.
We have also worked on strengthening routine immunization through the establishment of a National Emergency Routine Immunization Coordination Center. The heavy focus on supply chain management has helped to improve availability of vaccines at district and facility level.
The World Health Organization, WHO, is also working closely with Nigeria and other partners to ensure that hepatitis becomes history by the year 2030.
If all children are protected with hepatitis B, birth dose vaccination within the first 24 hours of life, hepatitis B, which account for 85% of viral hepatitis in our region, can be eliminated.
States across the country are expected to ensure easy access to the viral hepatitis medication by improving the procurement and vaccination process. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
With me in the studio to throw more light on hepatitis is Oye Oyewo. He's the Director of Rotarian Action Group for Hepatitis Eradication. It's nice to have you in our studio, Mr. Oyewo.
It's my pleasure.
All right, research shows that about 27 million Nigerians have either hepatitis B or C. Is this figure not alarming?
It's very, very alarming.
Okay.
Because the alarming about it is that a lot of them that are carrying this virus do not know they are positive. They are carrier to this virus, because that's why we call it a silent killer. A lot of people around in the country go about with this virus unknowingly.
Unknowingly.
I'm telling you.
Or is it that hepatitis does not have symptoms?
Yes.
And how do you recognize a carrier?
Now, it does have little symptoms.
Okay.
But the symptoms are just common, like what we have with malaria. That's just a fatigue, headache, fever, nausea. But it goes to yellowness of the eye and the skin. So, but at any point that you get to stage of having symptoms for hepatitis, it has done the damage already.
Okay.
That's why we always emphasize that early detection is better way to go, so that we can get treatment or be placed on treatment or cure.
Okay, apart from the coloration of the eye, are there other symptoms?
The symptoms
to know a carrier.
Yeah,
I want you to be emphatic on that.
You must do tests for you to ascertain who is a carrier.
Okay.
Because the symptoms are similar to other illness like malaria.
Okay. Now, before we talk about prevention, how can it be treated for those that are carriers already?
Okay. Now, the good news is that if you are a carrier of hepatitis C, it is treatable. You can be cured of it. But if you are a carrier of hepatitis B, you will be treated. There is a difference between treatment, being placed on treatment, or management, than being cured of the virus.
Okay.
The virus for hepatitis C can be cured.
Okay.
But good news is that hepatitis B can be prevented. The moment you test yourself and get screened and you are negative, you can take vaccines to protect yourself from contracting virus hepatitis B.
Okay. So how can it be prevented?
Now, it's just simple vaccines. If you test yourself and you are negative, then you go for vaccination. And for hepatitis B, it is 3 doses. Then for hepatitis C, if you can get treatment through medication to clear it off your skin. But you have to be very careful in managing hepatitis because the transmission has always been through body fluid, either blood, sweat. It has not been proven that saliva can cause that, but because a lot of people always challenge us on the field, oh, what about kissing?
Okay.
But the point is that if you have a very slight broken skin, of your gum, and you kiss, you are likely to transmit that same virus to your partner. So,
okay. Quickly, what do you have to say to those that avoid going for the test?
Oh, there's no two ways about it. They have to go for the screening.
Okay.
So to get their status and attend to their health status, their hepatitis status, is just the way out. They will have to get screened and know their status and seek counsel. If you are negative, I encourage you to get vaccinated and complete your vaccines.
Okay.
If you are positive, then you will seek treatment from gastro experts.
All right. Mr. Oyewo, thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much for enlightening us. Time now to head straight to Jos, where Felicia will be our guide.
Thank you. Welcome to Jos. The Eid al-Kabir celebration is here again with barely 72 hours to the celebration. A Cameroon Kaneng Ladoja went to the ram market in Jos to find out the level of patronage and now reports.
The act of buying and slaughtering the ram is an important part of the Eid al-Kabir celebration, and so you find Muslim faithfuls the world over preparing for this celebration. So we're at the Yenshano and Awaki market in Jos North local government area to find out how the patronage has been this year. And with me to have this discussion is the secretary of the Yenshano and Awaki market, Mr. Mohammed Amin.
The patronage is low this year. I think maybe because of the high of the price of the animal, one. Also the way the people train the animals, the feed are very expensive. COVID-19 pandemic is one part of the problem.
Earlier on about the amount of the feeds for the ram, how much do you get the feeds? How do you feed them?
Yes, as last year, the bag of a feed of the ram we used to buy 1,500, but now it's 3,000 to 3,500. That also contributes to the expensive of rams, and the patronage is low, very very low. Yeah, sell camel, cow, ram and goat. A big cow, let's say 200,000. Medium 150, then small 120 to 100,000. A ram, big one. I have a ram of 70,000, 100, and I have a ram of 30,000. That's the small one.
Most people have found the year financially challenging, but we have few patrons from Port Harcourt, Kogi, Lagos, and Enugu.
Officials of the association say that the local government authorities should help with securing the animals, especially those sold in town, considering the fact that there are times animals are stolen and sold at a cheaper rate. In Jos, Ekemeren Kaneng Ladoja, NTA News.
Many thanks, Ekemeren. Plateau State Government, in partnership with the World Bank-assisted Third Urban Water Sector Reform Projects, are facilitating efficient water supply and management in the state. Ruth Stephen Hoke has the details.
In its drive to change the narrative in the water sector, seeking to ensure that Jos Bukuru metropolis and environs enjoy a similar supply of potable water, the World Bank-assisted Third Urban Water Sector Reform Project has donated 21 crown motorcycles and 23 assorted health and safety equipment to the Plateau State Water Board. The gesture is geared towards improving water governance in the state.
The governor has the mind of the people. He wants to really give the people of the state potable water, and at the same time, giving the potable water for sustainability. We need to now, just to sustain the system, we need to boost the IGR of the state also. So these machines are really going to be put into use for that purpose.
We are going to use these machines judiciously to make sure that areas that were hitherto very hard for us to reach, now we'll be able to access those areas easily.
The 21 motorcycles were distributed to the treatment plants across the state. In Jos, Ruth Stephen Hoke, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide. More reports in Abuja as we rejoin Elizabeth.
Thanks so much, Felicia. Now, following the launch of the Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Development Initiative, the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development has licensed 400 gold purchasing centers across the country, while 2 gold refineries are under construction in Ogun and the Federal Capital Territory. Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Olamilekun Adebite, and the Secretary to the Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Development Initiative, Fatima Shinkafi, stated this at an interactive session in Abuja.
There are 2 pilot states that were approved, Osun State and Kebbi State. And biometric exercise were carried out in these 2 states. But it also has a component called the National Gold Purchase Scheme, which runs across the the whole belt for gold mineralization in the country. So states that have gold can participate, and states that have trading hubs of gold can also participate. This does not eliminate gold production at other levels, but because it needs formalization and there's a lot of leakages, we want to plug those leakages in the economy.
Fulfilling our mandate, diversifying away from oil and gas, creating employment for people, and at the same time generating revenue for government. This is the major mandate for the ministry. Furthermore, the artisanal miners who are bringing out this gold will also be better remunerated because they'll get better compensation for their wins.
The minister explained that the initiative will be driven by the private sector, while government will only regulate. And for more reports, let's join Agatha in our Benin Network Center.
Thank you, Elizabeth. A warm welcome to Benin. Political parties have intensified campaigns and strategies ahead of the September 19 governorship election in Edo State. Adogbeji Ojegba has details of the meeting of the PDP candidate, Governor Godwin Obaseki, with religious leaders, and the APC candidate, Pastor Sage Ezeyamu, receiving formal political appointees into the APC fold.
The PDP candidate, Governor Godwin Obaseki, met with some religious leaders to formally inform them of his intentions.
We need peace in Edo State at this time. You are witnesses to the unnecessary build-up of tension, and more than ever before, we need God's guidance.
The religious leaders want the various parties to play the game according to the rules.
Edo people at this stage know who serves their interests best, and they should use their votes wisely.
Meanwhile, the APC candidate, Pastor Osage Ezeyamu, has met with Enige in Edo South Senatorial Districts, where he assured them that he will deliver if given the mandate.
We'll continue to hold these kind of meetings so that we can explain to our people what we stand for and what we intend to achieve if by the grace of God we get elected.
The former national chairman of the APC, Adams Oshomole, was also on the campaign trail. Pastor Osage Ezeyamu also received some former political appointees who resigned their appointment from the present administration to reinforce their support for the APC candidate.
Development done. We're not given the opportunity, no autonomy in local government. But we didn't have the opportunity to even do anything, not even employment.
I have been on suspension for 11 months now, all for the fact that I decided not to follow the government.
The candidate also received 3 commissioners in Etsopadek who resigned their appointments to work for the APC victory at the polls. In Benin, Adogbeji Ojegba, NTA News.
Away from political matters, the Ekiti State government has expressed concern over the attitude of some people who go into hiding after testing positive to COVID-19. Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Mojisola Yahaya Kolade, also said 67 active cases in the state, including Governor Kayode Fayemi, are responding to treatment. Kola Adebobuyi reports.
The latest record of COVID-19 put the state active cases at 67, with Ado-Ekiti recording the highest distribution of the virus among the 16 local government areas of the state. Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Mojisola Yahaya Kolade, said patients at the isolation centers, including Governor Kayode Fayemi, are stable, responding to treatment, and supporting their immune system to regain their health status. The commissioner frowned at people who tested positive to the virus, but thereby constituting public health hazard to the society.
It makes no sense for people to be positive and be running into the bush. You don't need to run into the bush. When you run into the bush, you are putting yourself at risk, you are putting your family at risk.
The state government has however warned that it will ensure that fumigation and disinfection of schools and worship centers are supervised and certified by the Ministry of Environment before the opening, as violators of government's directive will be prosecuted. The COVID-19 task force noted that over 160 arrests were made and prosecuted, sequent to the reinforcement of the use of face masks to prevent the spread of the virus in the state. In Ado-Ekiti, Kola Adebobuyi, NTA News.
That's it from here. Elizabeth, it's back to you.
And don't forget, let's join the NTA in the fight against rape and other gender-based violence. And that's Nationwide today. Thank you so much for watching.